Now, many of you will know by now that just today we received the news of NEO getting an approval to build the third factory, which, ladies and gents, we already know that beginning of this year we read that NEO had started building that factory. Now, ladies and gents, just now we received more good news or more news coming from the NEO president about the factory, which he indeed confirmed that the F3 or factory number 3 for NEO is under construction. Now, one of the things that he cleared out is that the factory or the F3 factory is not for the sub brands, but rather it is to help NEO's existing, of course, factories, two factories who are not able to meet the demand that NEO currently have. He said that those two factories were designed for single shifts. I mean, one of the things that we read sometime last year is that on the F2 factories, some production lines were able to do double shifts. This demand, or to know that NEO has got a problem with more demand, the factories not being able to produce to meet the demand, it is good news. But what is not that good is to hear that, of course, NEO can't, of course, do double shifts on their factories and maybe double the production capacity, because you will know that each of these factory, I think for a single shift, both F1 and F2, they can produce or they have an annual production of around 120 to 150,000 for a single shift, which means that NEO can easily deliver 240 plus on a single shift from these two factories. You will remember that last year the NEO CFO around March came out and said that NEO would sell, of course, 250,000 vehicles from these two factories, from these, of course, existing two NEO factories, which now, to hear that, of course, NEO is not, these two factories are not able to meet the demand, it simply means that, ladies and gents, probably based on the current order book that NEO has now, they are not able to keep up with the orders that are coming, which is something that, like I said, when you look into the orders, it's pretty good, but factory-wise, I don't know. Something tells me that probably since Onvo is also being partly produced from the NEO F2 factory, maybe the production for NEO has sort of like reduced, which is why, of course, the F3 will also produce the NEO models and the Onvo models, as what the NEO president is saying. Now, all this means that NEO, the most that they can deliver, it should be around 250,000, right? Because this 250,000 is it's a figure that, of course, NEO had said they would deliver last year, but because of supply chain issues, because of course, fierce competition, they ended up delivering 160,000 deliveries for the full year, which from that, I think we can safely say that the figure that can come from these two factories annually, you are looking at around somewhere between 250 to 300 probably, of which on a monthly production, or when you look into the monthly production of that, you are looking at around 25,000 per month. That is the maximum that these two factories can produce for NEO, which, to know that the NEO president came out and said that NEO is struggling, it means that NEO, ladies and gents, at the moment, or this moment, they are unable to meet the demand, which is why, or which explains why the order book for NEO, I think, as we discussed last week, it was sitting around 23,000. It means that the more these orders are coming, they are piling, and probably NEO is not able to produce the kind of vehicles to try to sort out or to try to cater for the orders that are coming, which is why the NEO president cleared out today to say that the new factory, which is F3, will be producing. It's not for the sub brand only, as per what at the article we read earlier today said, but it will be for both the sub brand, which is Onvo, and the NEO models, because the current existing two factories are not able to meet the demand that NEO currently has. So this is good news, I suppose. This is wonderful news. It means that obviously, based on the current production capacity, like I said, the most that I think NEO can produce, it's roughly around, of course, 25,000 on a monthly basis on a single shift. And to hear that these factories were designed for single shift, it means that that is the most that we can expect from these two factories. which is something that I think for the new investors it's pretty good. I think any number for me from the Neo brand over 20,000, it is a good delivery, and 25 will be a very great number for Neo. So what I think, it's just that we do not know when the F3 will be opening, but one thing for sure that we know is that Onvo, which is Neo sub-brand, is starting sales in Q4, or they are starting to deliver that model end of Q3, beginning of Q4, which hopefully by then maybe this new factory will be ready, because if it is not ready, then it will become even more challenging for Neo to deliver the kind of vehicles they're delivering now. So though Neo has not officially communicated to us as to when this factory number 3 will be complete, I think maybe the target might be to complete it around Q3 so that it gets ready for Q4, where we'll see Neo delivering or starting to deliver their sub-brand. And the production capacity was also confirmed for the new factory, or factory 3 for single shift, which by the new president, which is around 100,000. So it will be able to produce 100,000 annually on a single shift. We don't know if they will do double shifts or what, but single shift it will be able to produce 100,000. This factory, we read that it is very close to the F2 factory or Neo Park, which is something that makes me, or makes us to see as investors, that they're pretty close to one another. So yeah, man, this is what we read, this is what we just heard from the, of course, Neo president, who indicated that, ladies and gents, F3 will be for both Onvo and Neo, because Neo current 2 existing factories are not able to meet the demand or the orders that Neo is currently receiving. This is good news, and this, ladies and gents, confirms one thing that we've been saying about Neo, and that is the 20,000 that we saw in May, we are still going to see it in June. This is a confirmation from the president to say that the orders are looking good, orders are looking sharp, and therefore we are going to see the 20,000 deliveries again for the month of June. There are some institution, or there is an institution that has already predicted or projected that, whilst there are others like Bank of America who are saying that we are going to see just 14,000 deliveries for June, which, like I said, where I stand with the over 20,000, because the current order book, as per what we discussed last week for Neo, was sitting at 23,000, which that alone tells you that in Neo, if production is not disturbed by anything, they will easily deliver over 20,000 deliveries yet again, which is something that is pretty exciting. So those are the updates. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. And once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click that notification bell, so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Otherwise, 250,000 in Neo can still sell over 250,000 vehicles from these 2 factories annually, which, to get to see the way Neo has been delivering these vehicles for the past like 2 months, we can safely see that probably 250 for Neo, or 250 deliveries coming in this year for Neo, which was something that Neo, of course, wished they could have achieved that, which Neo wanted to achieve that, of course, last year. I think this year we could easily see plus 250 deliveries from Neo and Onvo, which is something that is pretty exciting. And by the way, if you are Neo deliveries from Jan to May, the growth compared to last year, it's over 51%. If you are to add 51%, let's say they maintain the same growth for the rest of the year, it will mean that Neo will deliver 240,000 vehicles this year, which is something that is pretty exciting. I think with Onvo, we will easily pass the 250,000 mark, because that vehicle, ladies and gents, according to the rumors, they have received quite a large orders from the sub-brand, which is something that is pretty exciting. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and God bless you all.